It is week number 6 for Let's Chat with Kat and Pat. And this week, Kat and I discuss the fact that despite the fact that we expect so little from all 3 kids, we want to know, why the hell do they continue to disappoint us in their own unique ways? Also, how important are daily showers to the success of a relationship? I think they're critical. I think Kat might agree. But it turns out there's a whole group of people out there that think that showers not only are optional, there are tens of thousands that think that they are unnecessary. Agree or disagree? And finally, sweaty sex. Yes or no? All that and more right now on the next edition of Let's
with Kat and Pat, and we've explored quite a bit over the first 5 weeks, and that's not going to change here in week 6. Patrick Gilroy alongside Katrina Patiri, and we've got some things to talk about this week. It's our second week back from vacation, Katrina, and I gotta say, I was hoping to feel more refreshed and ready to face the world coming back from vacation. Haven't had that feeling just yet. It hasn't really hit me.
I've had a jam-packed schedule. I haven't even finished my hour workout yet. So when we're done recording this, you hop in the car to go get Connor from Civil Air Patrol. I'm popping oven.
You're popping an oven.
I'm popping an oven. I'm popping dinner in the oven,
Yep.
hopping on the treadmill to close my exercise rings to then get off the treadmill, serve dinner, and hopefully we can think about winding down for the night around 9 o'clock.
One of the things that I love about us, and I've loved it since day one, is part of that winding down process in the evening, as well as our getting started process in the morning. And some people might think that this is some overkill, a little obsessive, but we both had this in common before we knew each other, was we really like to be clean. We really, really enjoy being clean and showering and soap and shampoo and smelling good. It's really important to both of us. And, as we do the podcast and we sort of keep our eyes and ears open out there for things not only to talk about, but to sort of pull back and relate back to our lives here, because, again, that's the whole theme of this thing. I saw an article today out of the New York Post, and it made me sad for this girl because she's got a debilitating disorder.
Please don't read the whole thing.
I'm not going to read the whole thing. Long story short, this 22-year-old, super, super hot. She's a strong 8, maybe a smelly 7, is the way I would go with it. They've got pictures of her. She's very attractive, but she's got an allergic condition that essentially, anytime her skin comes into contact with water, she breaks out in hives. Therefore, she doesn't shower. And it's beyond showering. She can't get in a pool, can't go in the ocean, she can't sweat.
Wouldn't you think pop a Benadryl, get an allergy shot, there's things to kind of work around this, or gain a tolerance for shower water. Maybe if you have hard water, go to where there's, town water.
I don't know. I got to believe that she's exhausted all of these ideas because she's been battling this since she was 12. She's now 22. But what got me about the story was that she uses wipes to stay clean, and that's, neither here nor there. We can debate whether she's clean or not, or what your definition of clean is when using wipes, but she found a group of people on social media that also don't like to shower.
All I can think of is the Lumi commercials with bifolds, butt cracks, those areas that don't smell good.
Well, according to the Lumi commercials, you women are stinky, stinky people. And for years and years and years, for an eternity, all you cared about was keeping your underarms from getting BO. But this lady says, no. You've got folds that smell. You've got butt cracks that smell. Under boob is my favorite that apparently smells. And And the Lumi girl just takes that and she smears it on like it's cream cheese in the commercial.
Whereas I'd rather just do a second shower.
Just do the second shower. So showering's always been important to us. It's this group of other people. It's unfortunate for her that she's got this medical condition. I feel bad for her. I want to know more about the group that she joined on Facebook or on Twitter or somewhere on social media. It doesn't say where she found them. It just says social media.
But how great is it that with social media, you can just find like people like you and it works?
Okay, but how do these people live? How do you go to work every day? How do you go to school? How do you interact?
Work from home, remote school?
Knowing that you smell like that. Like, that's disgusting to me. Like, I can feel, at the end of the day, I've showered, and I take a really long shower in the morning. It's kind of obnoxious, but I take
Takes longer than I do to get ready.
I do. It's not easy being this good looking, and I wish that the rest of the world understood the challenge that it is to be this handsome and to smell this good.
And I blow dry and do my hair every day and makeup.
And it still takes me longer.
Yes.
I know. Okay, that's fine. But I leave the house looking pristine, I smell good, I look good, and I'm ready for the day. But then halfway through the day, I run 6 miles, 7 days a week, and I sort of wipe up with her wipes, okay, when I'm done with that.
Yeah, the dude wipes.
The dude wipes. I've got the dude wipes, some fresh deodorant, splash some water on my face, and I go back to work. But by the time I get home 5 hours later, I am feeling like I'm ready for a shower, and inevitably it can't happen for another 4 or 5 hours. We've got to get through whatever the nighttime routine is, and then hopefully sometime between 9 and 9:30, you and I are alternating showers so we can be in bed by 10. I don't want to go to bed feeling like that. If I can sort of feel the gooiness on my skin, I don't like it. I don't want to feel it in my hair, on my skin. I don't want to wonder if I smell bad. It's just who I am. I wonder what these people think. Like, when they go to bed, do they worry about how they smell? Have they ever actually taken a moment and smelled what their sheets must smell like?
Well, what if there was somebody who can't smell? It would work.
Okay, that would work for them. Absolutely. Okay, you want to be devil's advocate? 1,000%. If there's people that can't smell, then these are the matches for them.
And social media can pair them together now way better than we could have in like the 1990s.
But when you and I met on Match, we put some details out there, and we certainly had a couple of days of good back and forth. But when we met for our first date, I had no idea that you had boobs, let alone giant, awesome, impressive, spectacular female boobs. Like, these things are what, if a woman goes in to get a boob job and she wants them to look natural, they should have a picture of yours, because they're huge, but they still stand up straight despite the fact that you're over 40. Like, they are impressive specimens. They're so impressive that you don't want people to judge you for them. You don't want a man to be interested in you because of them. So you've sort of mastered the art of hiding them, like the optical illusion that is Katrina's boobs. And you did such a good job during our first date. I had no idea. I knew there was something there, but I had no idea that they were there and that they were as impressive as they are. So you hid your boobs. I can't hide what makes me gross. I am a sweaty.
Oh, so my boobs make me gross?
No. But you tried to hide them.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the concealment. You can't like me because I got big boobs and light colored hair and a great smile and actually get to know my personality. And if I can conceal a few things, you can get to know me. We can have date 2. We can have date 3.
Yeah, then you get to know that stuff.
But are you leading into the first time we worked out together?
Yes. So,
okay.
so like, what was it? 2 weeks in, we went to a hotel, right?
So like we used to try to meet at the gym for dates too. So it's like you can't always go on a date and get coffee or get drinks or get dinner. Like, we got kids, we have jobs. At the time I was working retail, you were also on radio at night, so the schedule was tough. So we would meet up for like day dates and kind of go to the gym. Except for this particular time that we went to the gym was the first time you noticed I had boobs, and the first time I noticed you sweat like a pig.
I'm disgusting. Like, you came in rocking some tight running shirt with a sport bra, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I was trying not to stare because I had no idea what was being hidden and concealed for the first couple of times that I saw you. And then I'm looking at you, oh my God. But at the same time, I'm running on a treadmill. And I'm one of those people that when I run, you might as well put a towel to the left on the floor and a towel to the right on the floor, because I am going to essentially make that floor saturated with sweat.
Yeah, you're going to run and it's going to like flick and it feels like raindrops. No, it's Patrick's sweat.
It happens. Like you run next to me all the time, and sometimes there's a little flicking of sweat here. But at this stage in the game, you're used to it. You know it's coming. It's
well,
not.
And I know you're going to focus on showering again and smelling good. So like, I'm good.
You're good. But I'm disgusting when I sweat. Yeah, and that was an interesting interaction when we went to the gym that day, because at that point there were no more secrets. I couldn't hide the fact that I'm a disgusting pig when I work out, and you couldn't hide the fact that, my God, you've got the world's most impressive boobs. So we get through that. But remember not the first time we had sex, because we're not going to talk about that. That was awful. It was awful for you. It was great for me.
Definitely tell Patrick was married for 14 years.
Yeah, I'm married in a sexless relationship. Put it this way, guys. I less than 30 seconds. I mean, what did I last? A two-pump chump would have been heroic. Okay,
it's like Steve Carell in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I got in, I came, I got out. It was bad, but I was that excited to be there. Mm-hmm. But the first time we had good sex, remember how slippery and slimy
it was disgusting.
But you got used to it, and now it is what it is. I can't stop sweating.
But luckily, normally we shower regularly.
We do.
Like, we're regulars at Bath and Body Works. You do the men's spritzer, I do the women's spritzer. We have like a perfume and cologne collection like nobody's business. This is something we have bonded over, separate from how sweaty you get. It's just, I've always liked to smell good, and you strive to smell good. So it's a smell good pairing.
Well, when you sweat as much as I do, you've got to sort of fight the sweat. You've got to combat the sweat. Mm-hmm. And the best way to do that is to make sure you always smell good.
I will say, if you did not combat the sweat and you did not do the second shower, I don't know that we would work.
Well, but thankfully I do. And it's not something that you've had to talk me into.
No.
It's been a staple of my life long before you were a part of my life, Katrina. But I saw that story and I said, we have to talk about this, because there are tens of thousands of people out there that don't shower regularly. They were talking about this on a radio show today, and the host said essentially, they shower 5 days a week, but they don't shower on the weekends. And one of the hosts is a female. She's a girl. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I know how things can get if they don't get clean. Things can get sort of gamey, and I don't
like. Do we have to go in the description?
I don't. I
like
can't.
You know what?
But why are people comfortable not being clean?
That's their choice.
Okay, so gamey is a turn on for people?
Well, not for us, but it could be for others. Who knows?
Okay. Well, speaking of turn-ons, the point of today's program wasn't to shower shame, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it. But I did want to get into the kids, because we're struggling with something mightily, and it's something that I don't think that there's a solution to. So once a year, every year, we get a 9-10 day period of time where we don't have kids. It happens once a year. Because in the divorce decree with my kids, the ex-wife has them both for the entirety of February break, and we have them for the entirety of April break. So meaning from the time school ends, they get out of school on that Friday before break until the Monday that they go back to school. We've got that 10-day period without kids, and your son is 20 years old. There is no sort of rule that says that you have him now and you don't have him then.
No, the rule is we're going away. You're watching the dog. I'll see you when Connor comes back.
Right. So that's the rule, right? And he gets rewarded mightily for being there to step up and help take care of the dog, so we don't have to pay to board her.
100%.
And it works. It's supposed to work out well for him, work out well for us. But I bring it up because we know, and we started talking about it on Friday, that when Connor was going to come back, he would have had a prolonged amount of time away from us and away from his routine and away from the structure and the rules that he thrives under. And there's a certain amount of fear and anxiety and worry that sort of starts to creep in over the weekend, knowing that you have no idea which version of your kid you're going to get back.
It's the mood swing shift.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy.
And it's the foul language,
lack of appreciation,
disrespect. And then not only that, but not only do we have to face that, but he's going to go back to school and you're like crossing your fingers and hoping and praying. There's no call from the principal and there's no suspension or detention that's going to happen in your time. Because guess what? We're the parents who do that with the ones that work the full-time jobs.
Yeah, we always get stuck dealing with it because we answer the phones and essentially...
We're easier to deal with.
Well, over the years, the schools have just said, you know what, we're going to deal with them. And that's the way that punishments have worked out.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or not, it's what's best for him and it's the reality of the situation. But I bring it up because the one thing that I'm really struggling with, and it's across the board with all three kids to a certain extent, and no matter their age, no matter their living situation, no matter the circumstance, they all suffer from being an asshole. Like, they're all assholes in their own way. And I mean that with a lot of love because nobody loves our kids more than we do. But I just remember growing up, and maybe this is me being an old fart. I remember growing up, and if my parents went out of their way or did something special for me, I would shower them with a certain amount of thank yous. I would feel some gratitude. I would be sort of taken aback if it was a surprise or something that I didn't think I fully deserved. And with these kids, not only do they not feel the need to thank people or to be grateful when things come their way, I almost think that it's the opposite. Like, the more they get, the more that they expect. And it's getting to the point now where I'm having a hard time being as generous as we have been, because what's the point? What's the point in generosity when you're only going to
end up being the jerk anyways? So I might as well be the jerk and save the money.
Like, and I don't necessarily want us to be those parents, but the way that we're doing it right now, I wouldn't say that it's exactly working.
No. I mean, we paid for car insurance for my son with the expectation that he was going to watch the dog the full time we were gone. And then the conversation today is, oh, well, I didn't know if I was supposed to do Monday. I'm not sure. Did you send a reminder? Blah, 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 blah. Like this whole stupid effect. Well, the kid's got like almost a 4.0 GPA.
And we watched him put it in his phone. Yeah, and yes, you sent the reminder.
I sent the reminder. You got the calendar invite. Like, we're sending you the text messages.
And by the way,
like, if you're smart enough to be an engineer, you know you were supposed to be here on Monday to take care of the dog. So you know what? When car insurance comes up and it's like, oh, your mother should pay for this, you got to call and ask her, blah, 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 blah. You know what? He's 20. When I was 20, I was living on my own, making my own income, months away from getting pregnant accidentally with him and figuring stuff out. I was not calling my dad to have my cell phone paid for, wanting a new iPad, wanting any of this crap. And I would have hopped at the opportunity to earn any side money to dog watch.
I mean, it's amazing that a reminder, multiple reminders are necessary for him to come over here and watch the dog. However, when he needed my car a bunch of times over the last couple of months, no reminders were necessary to come get the car.
How about the returning of the car? And like, I don't know how that dent got on there. I don't know how those scratches, those weren't there. That must have happened today.
Like, unbelievable. Like, he not only returns my car much later than I thought I was going to get it. There's huge gouges down the side, a small dent. And I'm like, come over here, man. What happened here? And I don't know, just shrugs his shoulders. But again, 4.0 GPA, one of the most intelligent kids that I've ever known. Genuinely, like, hyper intelligent.
It's like they learn on TikTok how to do like the stupid routine. I don't know. What do you mean?
Connor does it too. Connor's 13. He'll be 14 in November. He's legitimately in the top 1 percentile. Like, there's maybe a couple thousand kids that are testing better than him across the country. It's like 99.8 on one of them and 98.1 on the other. It's insane how intelligent he is. But he's owed one piece of work since January 18th. And he's got all A's and B's on his progress report. He's on the precipice of making honor roll, but this incomplete is going to keep him off of honor roll again, despite the fact that making honor roll lands him a nice chunk of change. And the guy likes expensive things. He likes all his toys for his computer. And he wants us to continue to be generous with him and buy things for him. And it's like, dude, you sit down, it'll take you an hour. But I have spent maybe 12 to 15 hours trying to convince him why he has to do this. And I'll never understand why the kids put us through this. The girl, Caitlin, Christmas time, we were happy to have her come over, happy to have her boyfriend come over. We bought gifts for her boyfriend. Wanted to include him in everything that we do because that's important to her. I may disagree with the lifestyle that she's chosen at her mother's house. I may not appreciate, not like, not agree with the things that take place over there. But she's still my daughter. She's still your stepdaughter. And that guy's important to her. So we've learned to embrace him, and that's fine. You're cooking, you're cleaning, and you are welcoming them here. And then they show up.
They show up. Can we talk about how he peed on my front lawn?
Yeah, you can.
While my dad was smoking a cigarette, watching him whip it out and piss when we have 3 bathrooms in the house.
Okay, but that's as he was leaving. He did that. Okay.
No, that was as he was arriving.
Okay, he did it again as he was leaving.
Okay. So we don't just do it once.
But they send me a text an hour before. Hey, can we bring 2 of our friends? I say sure. Trying to be a nice father, and people show up stoned. They show up high. They go to leave after taking the jar of candy from Halloween and just sitting on the couch and housing the whole jar. Just fine. We're never going to eat it. And your father will never forget it. He calls me because he's smoking a cigarette in the backyard. He calls me out there and he says, Patrick, you may want to get in the car and go see if they're okay. I just heard a bang come down from down the street. And the kid, the boyfriend, drives the car into somebody's front yard and rams into a giant rock. Like, these are the things that I don't get. It's Christmas.
And when you ask the question, I don't know what happened.
It's the same answer. So no matter the circumstance, no matter the age, no matter the kid, no matter the mental acuity, it doesn't make a difference. They all come back with the same exact dumb look on their face, shrugging of the shoulders. I don't know what happened. Like, I can't take that anymore.
What do you mean?
That's my favorite. All right, what do you mean? It's going to be the death of me.
How?
Stop it. You got to stop it now, because this is, it does the same thing to you. Like, sometimes you get so frustrated that you just get up off the dinner table and you leave. Like, you can't take it anymore.
Conversation's not going anywhere, so I might as well just leave, because at least my actions are speaking louder than the words.
It's getting to the point now, though, that I'm convinced it's not just the 3 of them. I think it's just, it is this age group. It is this generation. We're seeing it in the workplace every day. We're seeing it with new hires. We're seeing it with kids that come in just out of college. We hire them because they're supposed to work a little bit cheaper. And if they come in and they do a good job for 60 days, they're looking for a raise. Like, it took me years to get a raise, or they want to have the same luxury type schedule that some people do that I have earned. But I've been with the company for 12 years. We bill $40 million a year. $26 million goes through my desk. So if I need an extra half an hour at my lunch break to run, so what? The flight I just came in from landed at midnight. Like I always say, if you want to go tit for tat, I'm going to win every single time. Mm-hmm. But then I have to deal with, well, Johnny over there, the 24 years old, been here for a month out of college. He says that if Patrick can do it, I can do it too. And it's like, no, fuck you. You can't do it. You
gotta earn it.
You haven't earned it yet. And none of these kids, I swear, they're under 26, 27 years old, something changed. I don't know if it's something in the water, if it's something that parents are feeding their kids. I don't know if it's because we're no longer allowed to discipline our kids in the manner in which we were disciplined. I firmly believe that our generation is the last generation that was able to be sort of, when I say hit, I don't mean in no way, shape, or form was I abused, but I had a healthy fear of my father's belt, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I mean, part of it, as you just said something, like kind of ding, ding, dinged in my head. So many parents have gotten divorced, and one party always benefits from the other. They haven't really done anything to earn it. So it's kind of an entitlement. I had to suffer through being married to you. So I'm going to get paid this. So now are we teaching this new generation, oh, well, if you suffer through going through work every day, you're entitled to this versus in earning it?
Well, it's a good point because I would say that, back when we were growing up, and again, we're both in my mid 40s, you're in your early 40s, the divorce rate was strikingly less than it is now. It was still on the rise. I think it was something like 30%. Now it's well over 50. It's approaching 60% of people.
Yeah, you have a higher success rate on your second or third marriage.
Yeah, that's why we're going to be good here.
Walking book over here.
We're going to be great. But maybe that's a point because this latest generation of kids, such a huge percentage of them has seen at least one of their parents be able to sort of collect a check for no good reason at all.
Well, the other thing is you get in a car accident, you can screw over the other person, you get a wrongful termination, or you don't like that you're being let go because you couldn't show up for work every day, you complain, you get paid out. I mean, I don't know how many times I've survived getting laid off when companies have been downsizing just because I'm such a good worker, where here I am seeing other people get severance packages. They're going to make more money than I am for the rest of the year in a severance package. Here I am schlepping along,
right,
taking on their extra work. The same thing happened through COVID. I never got furloughed through COVID. People were making more money on furlough, collecting unemployment, than I was making showing up and going to work every day.
Right. So what's the incentive other than that's just the right thing to do? It's how you're wired and you're going to do it.
I never had to collect unemployment. I've earned 100% of my wages, and I was raised to be hard worker, earn everything that you have. And if something's coming to you for free, then there's a catch and there's something wrong. But I think we've missed the boat with this generation and generations that are coming up on having to earn.
I'm just wondering when it comes to the kids, because this is our day-to-day, and they play such a huge part in our day-to-day happiness and the health of our relationship, because the reality is this, we've talked about this before, like you and I legitimately in 4+ years, we really haven't gotten into a fight that is stemmed from something that you've done or something that I've done. We're not abusive to one another. We don't cheat on one another. We're always super respectful to one another. We've learned how to deal with, if I'm getting on your nerves or vice versa, how to take a step away and not let it devolve into something. But the handful of fights that we have gotten into have really been a product of something that one of the kids has done, because the frustration just gets to the point where you can't yell at the teenager, otherwise
well, I would say it's been an ex. It's been over money having to go to somebody else.
Yep.
The kids.
Yep. And Jameson.
Well, Jameson as a product from, DCF is called again.
Right.
And you go and drink a Jameson and then I can't stand you. So, there's things that we can control and change, and then just God help us that when we get to the kids all being of age, that like things diminish with the ex. But to your point, yeah, like our arguments haven't been over like you haven't called me back or you left or, I'm questioning that coworker that you have at work. None of it has been that. It has been the stressors that come into our home from the other homes that our children are at. And I think it's just a way of like, we have to figure out how to adapt. And I think we need to get some good, healthy boundaries. So where do you and I stand on the same page for X, Y, and Z? And if we don't get this from our kids, then it's a no. And at the end of the day, like we're only great for like a week or two in our kids' eyes. And then we're still the bad guy. So, I really don't have a problem saying no or having a boundary, because I'm going to end up being the bad guy either this week or 2 weeks from now. So what does it matter?
I mean, I'll tell you what, I was mildly relieved today. I don't like it when Connor's schedule gets adjusted. And, we know we have him every single Monday and Tuesday, and then it's alternating for the remainder of the week. So half the time we've got him Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then the other half of the time Mom has him that time. So this happens to be Mom's week. We got him back today. We'll have him tomorrow. We'll have him Wednesday morning. He'll go to school. He'll go to Mom's. We'll see him again Monday. Then we have our long week with him. 99.9% of the time, Tuesday nights, he's got basketball practice. And once again, whether it's football season or basketball season, this continues to happen. I do not like it if practice is canceled, especially last minute, because Connor is somebody that thrives with his rhythm and his routine and knowing what to expect.
He needs to be held accountable to his teammates.
1,000%. And for whatever reason, there was a screw up and basketball practice got canceled tomorrow night. That sucks, but we can deal with that. I was relieved because, again, the kid comes back today and he's not prepared for basketball. So he didn't bring his basketball sneakers, and he only has really one pair. And he prefers to bring them between homes, despite the fact that we buy them every single year, and we don't want to be assholes.
Well, and half the time they don't come back, case in point.
Right, and they didn't come back this time, and he didn't know that he didn't have practice tomorrow, so his solution is, I've already talked to Mom, she's going to drop them off at some point. Well, to your point, and to the point where we want to be able to enjoy our house and have those healthy boundaries, look, if we know that she is going to arrive here to drop the kid off or to pick him up, that's one thing. We can plan for it. We understand it is what it is, and that's life. He's 13. He doesn't drive yet. But you've talked about this before, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. He's not understanding, or she's not understanding. Neither one of us are all that comfortable with the idea of her coming at some point tonight between 7 o'clock tonight and 5 o'clock tomorrow night.
Well, it's because she likes to cry wolf, and I'm kind of traumatized. Like, it hasn't happened in a while, but we had a regular visit from the police on nonsense things. Like, I'll never forget the gerbil situation. Like, that was insane. We had to have video footage and all this type of stuff that we're not threatening her. She approved that we were going to get the kids gerbils. The kids bought gerbils with their allowances. They were supposed to go from home to home because we travel for work and they die if we're not here. And she never said anything about the gerbils, and the cops show up, and it's this whole thing. And to have a police officer knock on your door over a conversation on gerbils is insane.
It's insane. Yep.
So to minimize how many times she actually has to show up at the house, it makes me feel better. Like, to know that I keep extra paper towels, napkins, trash bags. I'm a good Italian woman. I've got a small stock supply.
You don't right now. You don't right now. Last week, your son cleaned us the F out.
Well, that's true. But okay. I normally
he might
have a
missed
good
a day.
stockpile. And I went to Sam's Club today, and they were out of everything. So I'm going to try BJ's or Costco's. I might get a different membership because Sam's has been letting me down.
The kid couldn't remember to make it here on the last day, but he did remember to bring his extra large hockey bag and stuff it full of water and Gatorade and paper goods every single day that he was here.
Correct. But, if I want to walk to the garage and get something to thaw for dinner tomorrow night, I don't want to be concerned that I'm walking in my driveway to go to the garage, because our garage is not attached to the house, because Anne may or may not be showing up at the house. And if she sees me out there, is it going to be threatening? Is it not going to be threatening? To kind of live in that fear is asinine. And it's just, we're supposed to be doing drop off and pick up through school. I understand there's exceptions that have to come up when it comes to football season, but the chick finds a way to come here 4 or 5 days a week, and it's ridiculous.
Well, again, if you could go back, and we're not going to go through this because it would take every episode for a year, but if you went back and you read the things that were said in court, I mean, she's terrified of us. She's terrified to come here. She's terrified of this, terrified of that, and yet she continues to find a way to show up. Right.
Whereas, when she finds a way to show up, she won't say, I'm going to be there at 4 o'clock, and somewhere between 4 and 4:15 she will be there. No, it's this is the afternoon. This is the evening. She's dropped off stuff at 12:15 a.m. in the morning.
She has. There's no rhyme or reason. That's
right.
why.
And so it's you know what? Maybe she doesn't live in fear, but I'm living in fear on can I actually walk out my front door and go to work? The day that she came with Caitlin for Caitlin to pack up things, and I'm trying to take trash out and leave for work and get out of here on time before they come, is the one time she ever shows up early. And then I had to hibernate in my car and wait for them to leave because she's blocking me, so I can't leave for work at the end of the driveway. Caitlin's stocking up a huge suitcase that's her entire size of her whole human body. Mind you, also taking toilet paper and paper towels,
they all do.
Deodorant and all those fun things.
I swear to God, the other parents don't buy paper goods, deodorant.
No, they owe me that. Get whatever you can, grab it.
Yeah.
And, sitting there locked in my car I want to leave and a hostage in my driveway. Meanwhile, it's, you want to reap the benefits of my paycheck and my household income too. Bitch, get out of my driveway. Let me go to work.
That's it. I mean, again, if you don't go to work, if I don't go to work, if something happens, God forbid, to one of our incomes, we talk about this quite a bit. It's going to drastically affect not one house, not two homes, but three families' households. So if they truly need the money that's provided to them, like at a minimum, let us work, or at a minimum, bring the kids back ready for school, ready for their sports, minimize the interactions that have to happen in between, minimize the chaos. So maybe these kids can get used to living outside of chaos, because for as much as the other parents may enjoy living a chaotic lifestyle, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for us. And it clearly doesn't work for the kids, because the reality is, and the evidence shows, that when they are living in a world where the chaos is limited and the structure is real and it is supported and expectations are there for them on a daily basis and they're being met and there's accountability and yada, 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 that's when all three of them are at their best.
Well, they can remember everything that they need. They're getting on top of getting their work done. They have the expectation that somewhere between 7:15 and 7:30 dinner is going to be served every day. There's always going to be food in the fridge for snacks. Lunch is always going to be made for when I go to school. Like, there's things that they can count on. And that's probably why we're the first people that they call when something bad happens.
Yeah.
Because we can fix it. But, that day I was stuck in the driveway. I have earned my right at work as of you to show up and kind of do when you got to show up at work.
I mean, that's the way it goes, but that's not something that you get from day one or day two or year one or year two. That comes with decades of success and experience.
But I want to go to work on time. That stresses me out.
Of course it does. So, again, the question becomes, are these just things we're going to have to continue to live with and adjust on the fly? Because I don't see a world, Katrina, where things change. Your kid's 20 years old. He's going to be 21 in November. No disrespect, and I hope this doesn't turn into a fight. He's getting worse, not better. He has gone backwards the last 2 years. He's gone backwards the last 4 years. The kid that I met when I met you, when he was 16 years old, that kid would never pull the bullshit that he pulled last week, because that kid would have had it in his phone, written down in a notebook, found a way not to forget. Like, he wouldn't have done that. But now I think he's fallen into the same traps that my kids have fallen into. And maybe it's our fault.
It's boundaries. We need to have our boundaries, and our kids are old enough that we can have the boundaries, and we have expectations that we have to do.
But they take us for granted. That's what it is.
You know what we have to pay and goes out of the house. We're obligated to do that. We have to do that. But we don't have to do the extras. We don't have to do the nice to-dos. And whether I'm a jerk today or I'm a jerk in 3 weeks, I'm going to end up being a jerk at some point this year. So there just needs to be a line in the sand, and we need to start being the example of, because when they do get into the workforce, this is an expectation.
Well, I'll never understand how there's such a disparity between what's expected from this household and what's expected from the other households. So whether it's a birthday or Christmas or car insurance, a computer for school, something big. When the other parent comes through and gives, Connor a $20 Dremel or whatever for Christmas, and Connor's excited about it. But from us, he needs a $500 graphics card, and that one is still his second choice, because the one that he really wants is $900. And he'll tell you that after, he smiles for the $500 one, but it's almost like he begrudgingly accepted it, because he knows that $900 for a graphics card is just a little bit too much to ask. It's the same thing on the other side. Dad gives him a Cuddle Duds blanket that he got from his grandmother, and, that's supposed to be, it keeps him warm. It's a big deal. Or he gets a pillow or a dresser or something that's
snuggie.
A snuggie. It's something that's like a joke gift. It's not significant. It doesn't cost anything. It didn't take any thought. But they're appreciated. They talk about it. They come here and they love this snuggie.
Meanwhile, he gets a Louis Vuitton wallet so that he can keep up with his friends at school, and car insurance, which was significantly an increase on the new car that he bought. that had nothing to do with you or I.
No, but we do it and we pay for it for both of them, for all of them, in hopes that it'll keep the peace, make things continue to go in the right direction. And whether it's, Connor not bringing the basketball sneakers home, or Roger not showing up on the last day, or Caitlin coming over here with her high friends on Christmas, I'm convinced that there's nothing that we can do better or differently that's going to change what they do. It's all about what the lifestyle that they've become accustomed to. The only solution is more time here. Unfortunately,
that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So all we can do is control our actions and have some boundaries.
We're going to have to set some boundaries. And it'll be interesting because we'll talk about the boundaries as the weeks go on here, I'm sure. Because there's going to come a time where we set boundaries and they come back to fuck us and we get hurt. It's going to happen. And we're going to have to be okay with getting hurt.
But are we hurt right now?
I know you're very hurt, and I'm hurt, but I'm more pissed off. I'm pissed because, look, I sound like a snob. I sound like a Wyndham white trash snob. But the reality is I didn't have my Lexus for 4 or 5 weeks, and I was able to get by because I've got a 2006 Ford F-150. Believe me, it's a fine truck to go to the dump in. The dump's 1.5 miles away. It's a fine truck to run errands in. But when I have to drive to Logan Airport in it, or drive to CVS in Woonsocket, Rhode Island to go see my customer in it, it's not fine. It's not okay. But I did it because I love him. And I did it because it was the right thing to do. And, you do all that. You put yourself out there. You give up that luxury that you've earned, that you pay for, that's a part of your life, that you expect to have. My job expects, when I see a customer, they expect me to roll up in my Lexus. That's why they pay for it. That's why it's a company car. And you give that up in hopes that, knowing we're going on vacation in a couple of months, and we love our dog, and Roger generally does a decent job with the dog, so you don't want to have to worry about that. He's 20 years old. He's got the time. He's got the means. And quite frankly, between you paying extra for car insurance, or us paying extra for car insurance, and us making it work here for the extended amount of time that he had one of our primary vehicles, all we wanted in return was not to fucking sweat it one time. And he did all right the first couple days, and I could tell how uncomfortable you were. It was 8 o'clock at night, and I looked at you and I said, I haven't seen the ring go off.
Well, and it was like, it's our last night of vacation.
Yep.
And it's like, are we going to have an argument over this? Are we not going to have an argument over this? And it's just, you know what? The next time something gets asked, it's a no.
Because it's not,
it's a no.
It's not worth having an argument over. And I think you did the best thing you could have done, because 100% of the time, in past situations and past circumstances, what we would have done is immediately called the fucker and said, get the hell over there. I don't care what your excuse is. I don't care what your reason is. And you said, no, Corey's got plenty of food, plenty of water. She's got a doggy door to go in and out. Worst case scenario, we've got friends in the neighborhood. We can call somebody if we need to. We're not going to call him. We're not going to give him that chance to be, an idiot and say, I forgot, because that's the card that he would play. You said at the time that you're going to make him feel it next time something big is expected. Well, that next big thing is going to be expected this summer. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be very curious to see how well those boundaries are kept, or if he's given multiple opportunities between now and then to make up for it. Because he may be. There's going to be other circumstances, other situations where we are not here and we need care for the dog. So does he pull it again? Like, he got busted this time. You talked to him about it today, finally. And he played stupid. But in his heart of hearts, he knows that he
knows he was wrong, and it took him a week to call and be like, oh, shit, I haven't heard from Mom.
Yeah, Mom's pissed. So the curious thing will be, next time we need him, does he do the job the way he is expected to do it? By the way, this is not a hard job. He has to drive by our neighborhood anyways, going to and from his father's house to college. He has to drive by. It's not.
He has to stop in. Is the dog okay? What is in the mail, which he didn't bring in? Are there any packages on the front stoop? Let's take the dog for a walk around the neighborhood, make sure everything's okay, and go. 20, 25 minutes of your time, 5 days in a row, while you're already driving by. And oh, mind you, I pay for the gas in the car.
You do. You do. But there isn't always enough money left over for gas because of the $400 that Dad takes out of the $500 allowance to buy the water bottles, the groceries, the paper goods that got stolen from our house last
Right,
week.
but there is when I pay the card off early, knowing we're going on vacation so that I can't hear that he can't get gas.
So I know that the original plan for today's show was to do some of this and then to do the misconnections piece. I'm going to throw a wrench in here. I think we hold that for next week so we can have a nice light and fluffy show next week. This got a little bit deeper and heavier than I thought it was going to. And before you know it, 40 minutes goes by. So I think next week we'll lighten the mood a little bit because the thing that people need to understand is, yes, we met on Match. Yes, you were only 7 miles down the road. But whether it's...
We belong to the same gym for years.
And whether it's 25 years ago, me working with your cousin at the Palace nightclub in Saugus and you getting in with a fake ID or whatever.
Or me belonging to your ex-wife's
Oh, yeah.
Boston Young Professionals for dating,
Yep.
going to speed dating at her events.
We were 1,000% under the same roof dozens of times, or pulled up at the same red light dozens of times over the last, not just since we were 7 miles apart here in New Hampshire. I'm talking about going back to when we were teenagers, and I was back in Peabody and Lynn and Saugus. And
I was working at the Square One Mall.
Right there in Saugus on the Lynn line. So we'll talk about those misconnections and what they mean, and maybe if they were a sign of things to come. I will say this real quick about the misconnections. The one beautiful part about it was after we had our first date and we sort of talked about the people that we know, and I tried impressing you with my radio background, and you were like, yeah, well, my cousin. Turned out I knew your cousin, so you were able to get sort of a seal of approval.
Yeah, you were vetted.
I was vetted. See, that can come back and bite you in the ass, guys, or it can come back and be a good thing. I got very, very lucky that it was a good thing for me. So we'll talk about all those misconnections and more. If you like the podcast, make sure that you rate, subscribe, and review. Available on everywhere where your podcasts are found. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where are the other ones? Google Podcasts, and there's one more. There's Stitcher. We've gotten a couple of messages that people want to see us on YouTube. And here's what I'll say. We'll get there. The goal is to put a couple of cameras in here sometime before the summer. Until then, you'll have to just deal with our voices. It's weird, but all the big podcasts now...
Well, and I'm going to hold you accountable right now. I need what our Twitter account is. I don't have Twitter regularly. I need that account so we can start doing some social media posts, and I can start sharing some tips on how to save money.
At Cat and Pat Chat. That's your Twitter account. Okay.
Well, I need the logins from you.
I'll give you the logins. You have all my logins. What are you talking about?
I don't have that login. It doesn't equate to money.
I will add it to our shared notes.
Thank you.
Okay, on the iCloud. My name is Patrick Gilroy. Her name is Katrina Pateri. We'll talk to you guys in 1 week's time. Thanks for listening to Let's Chat with Cat and Pat. Bye-bye.
Wow.